Alright, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be showing, I'm going to show you the process that I did to do an oil pan gasket on this 2011 Kia Sportage with the 2.4. This is the Theta 2, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know shit about Kias or Hyundais, but I think this is a Theta 2. And I don't know if this method is specifically for this car or if it's for every Theta 2. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on this, but if you have a 2011 Kia Sportage or this generation Kia Sportage with the Theta 2, the 2.4 naturally aspirated, port injected, non-GDI, non-turbo, then I guess this is the way how I did it. So first thing you want to do is you want to take off the splash shield underneath that's held on with a bunch of clips, and these 5 bolts right here. It's underneath the car right now. Then you want to drain your oil. The oil drain bolt is a 17 millimeter. It's a 17 millimeter. Unless it's been replaced, then it's probably some other size. But if it's the original one, it's 17 mil. Drain the oil until it starts dripping. And once it drips, put the drain bolt back on. Replace your washer and torque it to spec, which I believe on these engines it's a 25 to 30 foot-pounds, something like that. I'm not too sure. But if you don't have a torque wrench, just go until it's snug and don't over tighten it. Then after that, you're going to, there's going to be a AC compressor. I haven't put the pan back on yet, but there's going to be a bracket here that bolts to the AC compressor that goes to the oil pan. Pan's right there, and it's two 12s, just two 12 millimeters right here, and then they come out, and there's four other 12 millimeters that go around here holding the AC compressor bracket in. Once you get that out, the bracket comes down. You might have to give a little love tap or pry on it a little bit for it to come out, but it'll come off. Then after that, you can start the process of taking out all the bolts that hold the oil pan on, and yeah, take all those bolts out. There's a bunch of 10 millimeters, but beware, here's all the bolts over here for the oil pan, but beware, you want to be mindful before you do this job, in case you get stuck, if this is your only mode of transportation. Before you do it, just be aware that there are these 2 bolts. These are 2 12 millimeter 12-point bolts, and I don't know why they designed it like that, but they did, and that ended up getting me stuck on this car for 5 fucking hours because I didn't have any 12-point sockets with me. So yeah, but I got it off. I had to go run down to Harbor Freight and fucking get some. But yeah, just be aware that there are 2 12-point 12 millimeter bolts to the oil pan. So again, just be very mindful of that before you take this job. And if you don't have any 12 millimeter 12-point sockets, then go get some before you do this, or else you will be stranded because you cannot get a wrench in there. So yeah, and then after that, pry the oil pan off. Clean up the old gasket material on the pan and on the upper oil pan on the mating surface. Clean off the gasket, spray it down with some brake clean or carb clean, whatever you have, and just wipe it. And now we're going to be putting on our new gasket. I'm using Permatex, the right stuff. I heard this stuff works pretty good. You can, however, if you're not comfortable with using silicone, you can buy a regular old gasket for this thing, one that just bolts onto it. But it's like $30, $40, depending on where you go. $50, $60 if you go to auto parts store to get it. If you get online, it's like $30 to $40. But this cost me $10 at Walmart, this little tube of Permatex. I heard this stuff's good. I heard the right stuff. I heard this thing works really well, so we're trying it out today. So yeah, let me get my razor. Best way to clean off this old gasket material is get yourself a razor like this and just cut along the edges, and then get your metal wire brush and start scraping it. That's what I've always done, and I never really seemed to fail for me. So let me get this open. All right, so I have the I got the RTV open. What you want to do is with this little nozzle, you always want to cut it at the at like an angle at the tip right there. You always want to cut it off at like an angle like that. So yeah, what I usually do is, there's a lot of old gasket material on this thing. It's like on both sides, but normally you just like go in the middle all the way around, covering up all the bolt holes. This side, probably fine. This side I might do 2 layers of it, but I'll show. Let me just put it on and I'll show you what I'll do. Alright, so here's the way I did my application. So on the shorter sides, on the smaller parts of the pan, just straight line across. On this really wide side, I did 2 layers and little dabs in between. I know it's probably a little excessive, but as a wise mechanic once told me, with RTV it's always better to have a little more than a little less. And so now we're gonna go put this back up on there, make sure the mating surface is clean, there's no oil or anything on it. And I mean, your clean doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm a perfectionist, so I like to make sure everything's all good. But make sure there's no oil on the mating surface before we stick this back on there. Yeah, so we're gonna stick this back on there now. We're gonna put the bolts in, and we're gonna make sure they're snug. We're not gonna tighten them down 100%. We're gonna make sure they're snug, and then we let this sit for about 30 minutes. It says 90 minutes on the tube, but I have always done 30 minutes, so we're gonna wait for it to sit for like 30 minutes, and then we shall come back down, tighten the bolts down the rest of the way, and put oil in it, and yeah, then we're good. So, and I'm not gonna pause the video and wait 30 minutes because fuck that. So yeah, this is it. This has been the video on how to do this. I'm just gonna go put this back up in there now. Wasn't that bad. The only issue was that stupid 12-point socket, that 12-point fastener, but yeah, after you put the oil pan back on, just make sure it sits on there for about 30 minutes. If you want to let it sit for an hour, let it sit for an hour. Make sure the gasket sits all the way. Tighten your bolts down to spec, or until they're snug. Put oil in it, put the correct oil, the right amount, and then start it up, and you'll be good. So, hope this video helped you guys, because there is really no information on this. So, hope it helped y'all, and I'll see you in the next one.